Welcome back, Rare Talks. You already know what it is. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't, make sure you go over to the Spotify and check out the exclusive episodes on the Spotify. And just for people's records, just so you know this episode was on the Spotify before it came on the YouTube. Because I always do that. Do you know why? Because I like to make sure that you people listen before you see me. You see what I'm saying? So that means you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. And 2 ears and 1 ear. See? You didn't understand that. But now, you do. So I'm back this week with a special guest. Introduce yourself. I'm back with a black author. A black author that has been writing children's books for a couple of years and is actually very good at it. Imagine that. And she's been on my podcast, but she never wanted to big up herself. But you know me, I'm going to find the best in people, not the worst. Some people, all they do is find faults in others instead of finding their greatness, bringing it out and bringing it to the surface. So you know, at Rare Talks, we do some amazing things. Last 3 weeks, I've spoken to 4 entrepreneurs, and guess what color they've all been? Yeah, irrelevant. But anyway, back to the subject. Introduce yourself, my sister.
Hey guys, and blessings for that introduction. Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it.
Come on, lads, man. Start. Yeah. And you know what? I'm so happy and honored to be sitting with a black author because, you know, how this episode actually came about is I remember that you done books. Now, my daughter came to me. Yeah, listen to this. And she started writing a story. Oh, no. And I was like, raw, that's the day when I called you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was with my daughter and like, she was like, I'm going to get my book published and I'm going to do this and do that. And I was like, raw, like, because first when she said it to me, I was just thinking, oh, you know, kids, they say.
Yeah, they write stories all the time.
Yeah, cool, yeah. But like, she's like, I've barely finished I see the first paragraph, the second paragraph, the third paragraph. And now she's taking it serious. I'm like.
Yeah, nurture that.
I'm like, that's wait a second, you're taking it serious. I said, all right, who can I get in touch with? Who do I know that's an author?
Yeah.
That's like, that I've got their number that I can call. I know lots of people for different things.
Of course.
So I said, let me holler at you because I remember that you done books, but you're not putting it at the forefront of my mind, but it's there. So I said, let me holler at you and see if you can give me some tips and advice.
Love that.
Voila, we're here.
Well, yeah, well, that's it. You know, in today, the energy's out there. You put it in the universe, and everything that you actually need. And the people you need around you will naturally gravitate towards
Facts.
you. That's beautiful. That is amazing to hear that. Definitely nurture that in your daughter because that's a lifelong skill. She can take that anywhere and do anything with it. The art of writing, the art of speech and talking and being able to articulate your thoughts isn't something that people can actually take lightly. It's a true gift. It's a true gift and a blessing.
So let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning of the beginning and the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's start from when you was younger. Was that a passion for you? When you went to like primary school, secondary school, did you like writing? Was it something that you was into? Yeah,
well, first of all, guys, my author name is Nadia Jocelyn. So just so you guys know.
That's a real govy name, yeah?
Yeah, Nadia Jocelyn. It's actually my pen name, but it is my middle name, Jocelyn. So I went with that. So yeah, where did it all start? So I've always been interested in literature. English was my favourite subject. I'm actually dyslexic, so and that affects my maths more than it does anything, and my spelling. So that's always been a bit of a, you know, but it's I've always been able to get past it because my passion in literature has always been there through poetry and through just rewriting stories. Like I remember like in year 6 and they'll be like, oh, your coursework, you know, they asked you to finish off a story that we might have been reading in class. And I remember one time I rewrote a story. I completed the story of a book that's already been written. It was The Boy with a Pig Heart. I don't know if anybody might know of it.
No, I never heard of that.
But I went to school in Essex, so it might be a bit different from down here. But yeah, so I rewrote it and I remember I was so like proud of myself. I was like, yeah, teacher's gonna love this. And I got it back and I remember her in bold red writing saying, oh, this is really good, Nadia, but I wish you had wrote it yourself. Oh, what? It was just me. I'm like, what are you talking about? Who would I have got to write? Like,
that's a very good, that's a compliment, but at the time when you was young, you didn't see it like that.
It wasn't. It really did. It brought me down. Like it really did kind of stump me in that moment. I thought, why would she not think that I'm good enough to write something like this? I have no reason to lie. And if you're a teacher that really understands each pupil that's in your class, you would already saw that within me, that I was more than capable of executing. literature like that. So yeah, that was kind of the first kind of like blow to my ego, in a sense of, I didn't know how much potential I had at the time, but I persisted because poetry was a way for me to release my frustrations, my thoughts, my feelings, all of this. Let me start off by saying what truly inspired me to write this children's book is because I grew up in foster care. Growing up in foster care, you have all these people around you that can give you things, and they can say, okay, if you're upset, oh, we'll go counselling. If you're hurt, okay, I'll take you to the doctors. If you need someone to talk to, you can talk to your key worker. They have a lot of things available to you, but you don't necessarily learn or master the art of actually self-reflecting and understanding how can you deal with your own raw emotions right then and there. You know, a lot of people, they start listening to music and they might write music and might get them into that, right? And the children's home that I grew up in during my teenage years in Essex was predominantly a black. It was a black home. It was only for ethnic minorities, and they really nurtured that within us to find outlets that we enjoy. That's our passion, and that we can use in times of distress. So instead of smashing up my room, which I did plenty of times, or running away, which I also did a few times, I penned it all, and that's truly where you know.
That's deep. So you say you grew up in foster care, and how did that affect you growing up in foster care, and how was that kind of experience, just briefly?
Yeah, briefly. I became a black girl with no culture. My identity was stripped away from me, and I had no control of my present. So therefore, I couldn't imagine what my future would look like. I was always on edge and a people pleaser, because there's always that feeling of, if I don't please them, if they're not happy with me, tomorrow I could be gone. Tomorrow they'll just replace me with another child.
That's a real dark place to be mentally as a child, to think that if I don't appease to these people, even though they're doing me wrong, I could be thrown out to left to right, and I don't really want that. I want to feel wanted somewhere. Because that's all, in hindsight, what you're saying to me is that I just wanted to feel like I belonged somewhere.
100%. I'm fortunate because Marigo's Children's Home, they're closed down now, but the owner, she never gave up on her children. Like the kids that came into her children's home, she never gave up on them. I've had beautiful foster carers, my auntie Phyllis, my key worker auntie Torre, who was still very, very close to this day. And I think not everybody gets that opportunity in the care system to meet people that don't give up on them. Because ultimately the biggest downfall that I became a habit in doing was self-destructing. Like, I will see something good or someone be getting too close to me, and because I didn't know how to accept love, I would shut down and destroy it before it could even get anywhere. So that was a pattern I had to learn to break.
What is that, in your teenage years?
Yeah, definitely within my teenage years. As I got older and became a mother, it was like, wow, like this is unconditional love.
Because now being a mother, how did that make you? Because I know there's some people that when mothers go through being in the care system and stuff like that, or because in Jamaica they'll just leave you with grandparents and like the mum's just gone or the dad's just gone, it makes you have this like kind of connection to your children that is deeper than, like, your children don't even realize how much that you need them as a parent, because you're looking at them like, you think I will die before I let you. Your child could be 29, 30 years old, married with 3 children. Mom, I need to come home. Come to your house right now. Would you want food? What food do you want to eat? Yeah. I'll cook you your favorite meal right now. What do you want? Tell me what you want to eat, and you got it. Because you've got that kind of, you never want your children to ever go through that of that feeling of abandonment. So it's like when you have, from what I've realized is people that go through that, they're like super protective over their children. Like they're so accommodating to certain things to the point where it's like the child starts taking the mick because you're
overcompensating.
Yes.
Yeah. No, and I understand that. I get it. I think. For me, when I got pregnant with my daughter, I was a young mother, so I got pregnant at 15. I had her 5 days before my 16th birthday. So actually, big up to my first.
But you see now you saying you got pregnant at 15. I actually understand it. You see, if you wouldn't have told me where you came from, you came in there and said, yeah, I was pregnant at 15. I'd be like, damn, girl. But see, because you've given me a backstory to who you are now, foster care and I can understand how you could have got pregnant.
Yeah, because it's seeking love, it's seeking unconditional love and validation.
And am I wrong for saying the man was older than you?
Slightly. Well, her dad was probably 18 or something at the time. Yeah, so he was of legal. Do you know? So it was what it was. It was years ago.
we young back in them times. It wasn't as bad as it is now. Nowadays, it's looking
different. It's different now, ain't it? Yeah. He was slightly older than me. What I was gonna say, so big up my daughter Renee. She's turning 15. She's turning 17 this Thursday. So she's 5 days before my birthday, and I'm the 20th of June, and she's the 15th of June. So in that and becoming a young mum, so before the point of 15 and getting pregnant, I was on this road of self-destruct. Wasn't going to school, wasn't taking things seriously, felt like outside life was the life and nothing else mattered. Authority was a big thing. I didn't respect authority because as far as I was concerned, these people that are in my life are getting paid to be there. So there's that disconnect of, is your love actually genuine? Is your care even genuine? Because as soon as the clock strikes, you're gone. You've got your own life. And that's okay. But as a young child, it messes with your head. Like, you get in a place where you're just kind of like, I don't even want to get attached to you. So I was on this road of self-destruct, bumming it out, just doing whatever. When I got pregnant, it was a very... It was like you're at a crossroads, right? So you can go right or you can go left. And then it's kind of like, oh, which way do I go? You know, obviously my dad's on the line. He's like, well, you know what to do. Go to the clinic.
Is that the only advice you had?
African man. Okay. But, and then for me, I cried and cried and cried. I remember so many, like that leading up to what decision I was going to make. I cried and cried and I prayed to God and I said, you know what, whatever's meant to be, let it be for me. And I'm going to figure it out. So me and her dad, we was together. All my children are planned, by the way. I've never really ever been in situations where my children aren't planned. But given the backstory of me wanting validation and seeking unconditional love, that's where the planning of me wanting a child young was, right? So as soon as I got pregnant, it's like everything switched because I said, like, I actually now have a life that I govern over. I now have to nurture this young person. And it made me have to go and decide and think, okay, who am I? Because up until that point, like I said, I'd lost my identity. I didn't know who I was. I'm from Ivory Coast. I was born in Africa. I moved here when I was about 4 years old. So I never understood my roots. Who am I? How am I going to teach my child? If my child asks me, oh, Mum, what's your ethnicity or what's our background? What's our culture? I couldn't have told her then and there.
Why not?
Because I just was so detached from my Ivorian community. You know, I stopped speaking French from like the age of 6 and I couldn't pick it back up again. So that I think was a big part of my identity, not being able to actually understand the language fully. And a certain level of shame came with that as well, because my dad never vocalised or even told our family that we was in foster care. He didn't tell my mum. So this was all very hidden. So with that being said, it made me go on this journey of self-discovery and all of this and understanding that I'm a black queen and how much potential I truly have. So that was the defining point, was actually becoming a young mum. And I know for some people, and you have this stereotype, because always in my head it's like I always have to prove I'm not a stereotype. I'm me. I'm unique. You know.
But saying that. You're pregnant at 15, you have your daughter, and then in your mind, did you see yourself as an author at that time, or did you just see yourself as a full-time mother now that you're going to give all your life and change the way that you think around? Because I know children they can either go one or two ways. It could either make you think, forget the world, I'm going out there to live because I'm not letting this child hold me back. I'm going to do whatever I want. But what was your support network like at the time of giving birth?
I didn't have support like that. Didn't have a mum to be there during delivery. Dad was MIA. At the time, the children's home I was in, because they didn't want me to be a bad influence. And I still love the owner, and I still understand the decision that she made at the time, but she didn't want me to be a bad influence on the other girls, seeing that she would keep a young person that would go and get pregnant. So she moved me back to London. So, well, she didn't, but social
don't you think that's wrong though? What do you mean bad influence?
She regrets it.
You can't say you're a bad influence for getting pregnant. You were just naive, and you got. And if I'm honest, happens to a lot of women. So I'm not gonna sit here and say this is a bad thing, because when you're young, I expect you to make mistakes. I can say you was naive and you got manipulated by older man because you was younger. You might look back now and say, yeah, he kind of finessed me still. Like, the way certain things happened, I thought I was a big girl, but I wasn't.
I thought I was a big girl.
Yeah, because you look at your daughter now, and if she was saying, I'm with a 19-year-old you, and he's telling her this, that, the other, and then tries to unprotected sex with her, like not even caring if he gets her pregnant. Yeah. Like, he's moving a little bit wild. You would look at it like, big man, chill.
Yeah. Lay off.
Like, daughter, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. I
so agree. When I hear that, I always emphasize with that. You know what I'm saying? It's when you're like in your mid-30s and I'm like, you still making them mistakes then? Nah, idiot girl. I can't even have no mercy on you, because at that age, you should have learnt life. Not even men or women. Lessons, you should have learnt life to know, like, that right there, mad. But when you're 15, I expect you. We all made mistakes at 15. You getting pregnant, some man got in prison, some men getting stabbed, certain men, do you know what I'm saying? There's all kinds of things that we all have.
Me getting pregnant is like, this is what I have to emphasize as well. Me getting pregnant saved my life.
And I was about to say that. I was just about to say that, because the road you was going down was just a disgusting road that you could have seen. Anything could have happened. Yeah, it was. So you had your daughter now. Yeah. Biggest blessing, because obviously because now you have someone that you can love unconditionally and finally pour love into, and like prove that this is what love is.
But it wasn't easy. It wasn't just because I was in that zone of self-discovery, or I was like, okay, now I have responsibility. It wasn't that easy, because obviously as soon as you turn 18, the care system, they stop paying. So the home I was in at the time, obviously then I had to find somewhere to go.
Is that what they call a care leaver?
Yeah. So I became a care leaver. At that point, it's like, they get into independence and stuff like that. Yeah. So when I did move out at 18, I wasn't ready to move out, but I knew I had to, and I didn't want to be a burden on the foster family I was with. So I did as a good foster child, I left. I found a place, and I wasn't ready. So the responsibility was immense, between being a young mum, going to college. Because that's one thing about me as well. Like, I'm so, and I think anybody has the will, and everybody has the capability of using every situation to their advantage and making sure they get the best out of everything. So I remember actually when I was delivering her, the day after and the day before, I was sitting my GCSEs.
Damn, son.
Yeah. I didn't give it. I said, nah, I'm doing them. I went to a unit while I was pregnant, and I banged out my GCSEs. They bought the next paper. I think it was like the maths or English paper they brought to the hospital. Banged that out. So I got through it. I got my basics from maths, science, English, but and then with that, then obviously then straight after that, it's like, okay, she was about 4 or 5 months pregnant. But she was 3, 4, 5 months. Sorry, she was about 3, 4, 5 months, and I got her into nursery, and I went into college. So with you asking me if I saw myself as an author at the time, no, I didn't. I wanted to do acting. Acting was my thing. I enjoy performing. I enjoy entertaining people. And method acting is something that I was deeply was so into. So at the time, I went to college and I'd done performing arts. I studied performing arts. So truly, that's really, I knew I always was going to do something creative. I just didn't know which lane I'd finally end up in.
But you right now, you're a content creator, so you are still a creative. Regardless of how you see it, you're a content creator right now.
Yeah, that's it. So I never want to limit myself. So, but where I say it wasn't easy is that the amount of responsibility I had, and then still going college and everything. I had my my fell short sometimes. You know, she didn't necessarily get all of my attention because I'm either at college, she's at nursery half the day, we come back, we wash, we do normal routine, back again the next day. And then when she'd go to her dad's on the weekend, I wanted to be young. I wanted to be that 17-year-old.
You was only 17. You was young.
Yeah.
Like, you wanted to be young. Listen to yourself. You were 17.
I was 17 and I wanted to still have a certain, you know.
You were 17 years old.
I wanted to go and party.
You was a young mother. You can't say I wanted to be young. You was young.
I was young and I'd done young things, right?
Of course. You was 17.
Right. So that there was a period in time where I would say that I was a bit lost. I got lost in the sauce. 100%.
We all get lost in, just for everyone's record, we all get lost in the sauce. It's a part of life's journey of guiding us to better things. You have to go through things to come out of things. That's why it's all right to be super protective of your children, but some parents are so super protective that their children actually rebel just on the basis that you're being too super protective.
100%.
And I've seen that over like family members and stuff like that. But can you tell us a little bit about your writing process? Like, how do you get in? How do you get into the mindset of writing? Because that's not an easy thing to get into. Because I know you probably have to zone, you have to focus, and can you tell us a little bit about that process?
The process itself is you just have to lead with your heart. Like, because your mind can block you. You overthink it.
So writer's block is real?
Oh, it's a real thing. I went through writer's block for probably about, a year and a half, coming up to 2 years. After I wrote this book, actually, I went into writer's block mode. But this book is a 1-part or 5-part series, and it's already written. I've just got to publish the rest of them. However, the writing process, I just lead with my heart. Like, I can't, and that's where poetry comes into it. Because poetry, there's no wrong or right way. No one can tell me, nah, you can't write. That poem don't sound right. No, because they're my words, they're my feelings, right? Facts. So as long as I allow it to flow from my heart into the pen, I'm good. As soon as I come from my heart and I disturb it by thinking too much about every word, that's when it becomes a problem, and it's not necessarily as authentic or as fluid as you may want it to be. And it's because there's so many different types of poetry out here. It's not all just like everything's rhyming. It's not a whole rap song.
It's not a rap. It's not a rap.
It's not rap. The writing process for this book, it actually started off, there was a few days leading up to, my daughter kept asking me, my second child, Aaliyah kept asking me, Mum, like, why are you in foster care? How did you get in it? Like, like, just ask me questions. And I didn't want to tell her the brutalness of it and how clinical it can be, right? So I was like, I just started making up a story as we're talking, like bedtime stories, and I just made like a to be continued kind of thing. And every time I was like, I'll tell you the rest tomorrow, Lee, I'll tell you the rest tomorrow. And I remember one night I went to bed and I was like, like, I can actually make this into a book. Like, I can make it into a story. Was just up one night and I was like, we're going to call her Martha Panther. And they're all going to be animal characters because I want it to be children friendly. And then also because I want to show that family is so diverse. Coming from a children's home, coming from living in different foster care homes, family is really what you make it. As you get older, you realise that. You can be born with the family you have, but they may not reflect the person you are becoming, right? Or who you actually want to surround yourself by. So, I went to bed that night and I said, and I started to pen it down. So every time I read her a story, afterwards I'll not read her it, but I'll just, off the top of my head, I'll just tell her the story. I'll go in my room and I'll pen it down.
That's called a creative genius. Just for the record, that's a creative genius. Anyone that can tell a story and then actually write it down on paper and create things inside their mind, it's called a creative genius. A creative genius, I know sometimes we get these terminologies different. We think that a creative genius is these millionaire people because they've made money off it. No, that's called a millionaire opportunist. But a creative genius is somebody who can create something from nothing. That means your mind is one of the most powerfulest tools. And obviously your daughter must have been enjoying it because she wanted to hear it every night. And you know what? That really is inspiring to hear. Like, that you actually, them bedtime stories became, like, for the child and for you, like a thing to do. Because, you know, as a child, when you get older, people don't know this, but we was passed down secrets from our ancestors through oral traditions. Now, oral traditions was taken as stories of bedtime. That's where the origin of bedtime stories came from. It was how we related history back to each other. 100%. So before you go to bed as a child, I would tell you a little bit about history. So that child will go sleep with the only thing on their mind, the history. So when that child wakes up, they wake up in the reality of a new world. So this is how our ancestors passed down oral tradition. We never had, a lot of people couldn't read and...
Yeah, they couldn't read and write.
Yeah, but they had
Before
knowledge.
That, there was imagination.
Yes.
That was imagination. And that's the key thing, because we lose it as we get older. We do, you know, we get in this, you know, this concrete jungle of, you know, having to do this 9 to 5 and being, I'd say, you know, kind of not brainwashed in a sense. Yeah, because we are made to believe that we don't need our imagination anymore. We just need to go here, wake up, go there, come back, do the same routine, right? And within that, you lose your sole purpose. You lose your creativity because you get stifled, right?
And I know you wasn't just reading the stories. Like, so one day you was probably acting out as well. There was some lit bedtime stories. And anyone who knows about bedtime stories, you've got to be like,
you gotta let it go, yeah. You cannot.
Like, I don't give a damn how I look. I might look like the biggest fool, but I am going in.
They love it. And when you see their eyes light up, and she's like, okay, what happened to Martha next, Mum? And what did Carlos do, Mum? So each time I'm adding things on the spot. I'm just adding things, yeah. And then the bubbles, they were bubbling and they were popping, and you know, I'm going in. Some of the best times, like just genuine, authentic moments.
Do you know what's so deep about it? I loved stories.
Yeah.
Like, that's my thing. That's the thing that, if I'm even honest with you, I used to love the Bible because of the stories inside of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even nothing to do with the Bible. When I heard stories about man's part in the Red Sea, bro, in my mind, I'm like, wow, he had a stick. He went bow and the sea went psh.
Crazy.
Mum, is this true? And my mum's like, of course it is. God said it. Ooh. Hey, bro, I'm in like some next world, you know. So it's like them stories for me were like powerful. So I feel like having like them stories for children, like just giving them stories before bedtime is a way of like giving them, that's why I said it's oral tradition, how you pass down history. Because what you was doing in hindsight was giving your children your history, but through your imagination.
Yeah, and making it fun for them, making it fun. And I also say that it's not, we can't just reserve story time just for bedtime either, because there were times where it'd be like, our electric will cut out. We went through some, listen, time's life, innit?
It's life.
Our electric cut out, and I'm like, oh, the kids, she's bored. At the time I only had 2, so she's bored. I'm like, oh, snap, like, what am I gonna do? Like, okay, remember I was telling you about that story yesterday? Let's finish it off. So we'll just chill. We'll be chilling there until the money comes to put on the electric. So that's what it was. And it was a pastime. So yeah, it'll be during the day. It'll be whenever. We'll just finish it off because she always wanted to know more and more, right? So that's how it became a 5-part series to it. And the journey, and it's Martha Panther's world, because I don't want to limit it to just books. So it's a brand. It's somewhere where young people, eventually, I am working towards making it a children's project. A place where, you know, vulnerable people doesn't just have to be care leavers, doesn't just have to be children in foster care.
But that's a very unique topic, you know that, right? Because I've not heard anyone make a children's book on foster home. I'm just keeping it real.
There is. Tracy Beaker, great inspiration.
But what I'm saying, Tracy Beaker, not to be rude or nothing, but that's from a what person's perspective? Cool. So I've never really heard a black girl say that from her perspective. Okay, does it make sense? Because it would be good to hear you also do like an autobiography of it in more depth and with more emotion. For me personally, I would actually be a fan and probably buy your book. Even if I don't read it, I'll just buy your book to support you. You know the ones that that sounds bad, but I probably would read it. I probably would read it or give it to someone I think it would help. But I definitely think that it would, for me, I would definitely support it just for the sake of, all right, Ness has got a little biography that's to do with this.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because there is. I've been writing, I mean, my autobiography is an accumulation of my diaries from the age of 12. And I've now combined that with my teenage years, and then my adult life. So yeah, I am going to release autobiography at some point, but I believe in divine timing. So I'll never rush it. What's actually going to come next? Because I want to get into. I don't want to just leave myself in one lane and just being a children's book author. So what will happen? I'm hoping by January 2024, guys. I'm putting it out there. I will actually self-publish a poetry book. And that will get me into the more adult content, and diversify.
It's funny that you say that. I wrote years ago. We're going back into the archives. I wrote a poetry book once.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got published to people in prison.
I love that. Wow.
Yeah. When I was like 17, I don't know where this. It's probably somewhere in my mum's house lurking. It was like.
You got to bring that out. You find
I was really into poetry as well. Poetry was my way of expressing myself with certain emotions that I felt like I couldn't express like verbally. So I pull it into poetry, and then it would sound more eloquent.
Yeah.
But it was actually how I was actually feeling. If you read anything that I wrote, like it was actually
how you're feeling. Yeah. So it's funny because when your creativity is attached to your emotions, it can be such a tricky place to be in. Because guess what? When it came to poetry, I only really wrote poetry when I was going through stuff. When life is good and I barely found the time because I'm so enjoying and in the moment. I never found the time to actually write poetry. So a lot of my poetry might seem a bit dark, but
it's not dark. It's not dark.
It's emotion. It's emotion. It's raw, authentic emotion. And
just for the record, it's not dark.
Yeah,
it's your emotion.
Yeah, it's definitely emotion, and it's strong emotion. But what I like about writing poetry is when you read it back to yourself, you're like, rah, like I actually like felt that way, or the fact that I felt in that moment I was so like depressed or so upset and felt so lonely, but yet I was able to write something that I brought to life. I brought something to life through my emotion of sadness.
But I wouldn't call it sadness. I'd call it emotional reflection, because poetry's a reflection of how we feel in real life, but 100%. We're putting it in words that we believe that everyone will try to understand. You know, I used to write poetry with the intention that one day someone will read it and understand me.
It. Yeah. Oh, can you say that again?
I wrote poetry when I was younger with the intention that one day or some way someone would read it and understand me. Like, because I felt like sometimes I was misunderstood. Like, I felt like my emotions when I was younger were so uncontainable. Yeah. And I didn't come from a place where like people would sit down and be like, oh, how are you feeling today? So it was like hard for me to communicate my emotions. So like when I got into my first relationship was probably the first time in my whole life I've said to a girl like, I actually care for you. That makes sense, because I didn't know what that. Not to say I didn't know my parents loved me. My parents loved me. I knew that, but they weren't very vocal or very thingy about it. But I knew that they loved me. It wasn't. There was no doubt in the back of my mind. It's just that they never verbalized it. And maybe my way of love or being loved is that I need someone to verbalize how they feel for me. So when you're not verbalizing how you feel for me, I don't know what you really mean.
You can't register it.
You see what I'm saying? And then I need you to kind of show me as well. So verbalizing is one way, but then you need to show me as well. So I don't know. Maybe that was the reason why poetry for me took a deeper, because I was into poetry really deep. A lot of people don't know this. I was into poetry like really deep, like to the point where I was just buying poetry books and reading them. And I remember there was a time when I read Tupac's poetry book called The Rose That Grew From the Concrete. Tupac. And like that really touched my heart, because I was like, raw, like I can relate to how he's, and it inspired me as well to like want to be more artistic with my thing, and that's what got me into music as well. So yeah, I fully understand everything you're saying.
Yeah, love that.
So just another question, how do you create relatable and engaging characters for the children? How do you do that?
Just imagine you're a child. Just put yourself back there. Just remember what is it that got you interested in life, in things, in objects, colours, the feeling of that colour that the colour gave you, the textures of the curves and the pointedness, the texture of the cut, like the colour itself, the shades. everything, every detail, right? The size of the eyes, what kind of shaped teeth, the nose, like every simple thing, right?
If you had £1 million, you'd be a billionaire. Because what you would create, your mind just went into a whole, you know exactly how you want something to look. There's no curves and corners for you. You're like, the eyes need to be this big, teeth need to be this sharp. Don't play with me. That's not sharp enough. That's too soft. I don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah, man, this, because you do, and that's the beauty of being creative, is that because it is your vision, the execution, it's never ready until you feel it's ready, right? And sometimes that can block creative people.
Yeah, because you know what, you always like, it's not the right moment, it's not the right moment, it's not the right moment, it's not the right moment.
Yeah,
this is too big, I'm not going to drop it. I'm not going to drop this. I'm not going to drop this. You just need to drop it now.
Just do it.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot about like artists, singers and rappers and things like that. But as far as me creating relatable characters, it wasn't hard for me to go into my imagination and vision. Like I said, with me actually just off the top of my head telling my children these stories, they were able to visualize it, and when they're visualizing, I'm visualizing. I would sit down, I'm like, oh, Aaliyah, so what color should she be? Oh, what animal should she be? Like, I'm speaking to my children. They're my
inspiration.
Audience. My inspiration, 100%.
You know what? She owes some royalties to the children. Children, Aaliyah, make sure you get your royalties. Don't let mum try to finesse you when she tries to become famous. Say, mum, you owe me this. I'm part of the illustration. The illustrator.
Her name is.
I'm producer and everything. Don't play around, because I see that getting all the ideas from the children, sponging. You know when you ask your friends and you're like, they ain't good enough. Hey, Leah, can you come? Where do you get this? That's the best. Who's better than a child to give you inspiration?
Come on. I use my kids as a sounding board. Especially at that time when I was in the creative process of the book. My eldest at the time was really, all my children are quite artistic in a sense. Renee was really into drawing and painting, which is wicked at it. And I said, Renee, this is, and I described it. I wrote every bit down. Me and Aaliyah, we went through, and I said, Aaliyah, do you think this is good? Do you think that's good? She's like, yeah, mum, yeah, do that. So I wrote it down, did like a rough little sketch for Renee. I was like, Renee, draw this for me, but draw it so it's good enough I can give it to an illustrator. Found an illustrator. Renee did the sketches. Like, I have every process, I have it all logged. So once I do release autobiography, people will be able to see like from beginning to end. Like literally, like from Renee's sketches to the illustrator sketches, like every stage of it. So very excited about that. At some point in life will come out. But when I found the illustrator, I didn't know what I was doing. What I was looking for, and this is why I was saying to you at the beginning, life is about taking risks. If you want to be successful in anything you are passionate about in life, be okay with taking a risk, not necessarily understanding the end result, but knowing that because you're leading with love and you're leading with the understanding that you just want to do good. If you have evil thoughts and you're looking to do evil things, you know, you're going to get a different outcome, right? But even evil people can be successful.
Just a question. Do you have a favorite character in your book that you've written, and what makes it special to you?
Oh, goodness me. Oh God, they're all so special.
Well, give me one that it's something. When you was writing that character, you was excited. There was something about this specific character in this book.
Aside from Martha, the main character, aside from her, it would have to be Carlos Chameleon. Carlos Chameleon, because the inspiration behind him was my nephew. It is my nephew. At the time, my nephew was really into science stuff. He just loved everything science. Like, every birthday, I'd be like, yeah, I'm just going to buy him a science kit. He was just so easy to buy things for.
Boys are so easy to
Yeah.
I see us boys. Yeah. It's not hard, you know. It's not hard.
It ain't that hard. Once they're into something, you already know boys ain't really, you know. So,
man like Spider-Man, just buy him Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Don't need to do the most. Don't buy me all these other stuff. Just buy him my Spider-Man. I don't care about chain, I don't care about clothes. Get me some more Spider-Man toys. I'm happy.
And I think the reason why, and the most fun part of creating Carlos Chameleon is the fact that he's also a creator. He creates potions, magic, an illusion. He creates dreams. So within that character, I can really explore like so many. I mean, I just can't wait for you guys to really see the rest of the series. But Carlos takes you on an adventure. Carlos, he is the brains behind the madness. I love it.
And how do you incorporate diverse representation and inclusivity in your stories?
Yeah. Mummy giraffe is a giraffe. Daddy tortoise is a tortoise. All her siblings, Chelsea caterpillar, Ruby rabbit, Kenny kangaroo, Carlos chameleon, Martha panther. In their village, it's an array of different animals. So from colours to looks to shapes to sizes.
That's amazing, you know, because for children, it's good for them to see the array of colours and diversity in characters and personalities. Because I'm going to go a little further. Just stay with me.
Yeah.
In Planet Earth, I was watching Planet Earth the other day. Don't ask me why. I'm a guy. I just watch
that's
Planet
all right.
Earth.
No, I love documentaries. Don't get it twisted.
The lions were walking beside the elephants.
Oh, come on.
And there wasn't no war. They were both looking for one thing, and that was water. And it made me realise that when we as humans have restricted ourselves to only being with one set of people, we're less diverse than animals.
Yeah.
They can survive in a habitat and know I'm not allowed to go over there, but if I do go over there, I got to show some respect because these guys over here are serious guys.
Respect.
But you know, like they move very cautious around each other, but they still coexist. They coexist in a, and it keeps working because of the coexistence of being able to understand. So when you're making a book like this, it's like showing and like Asian kids, Pakistani kids, black kids, mixed race kids, white kids, and in all those characters it's like you've brought diversity, but someone just reading that book wouldn't actually get that.
No.
You'd have to break that down to someone like you're breaking it down to me now.
Yeah, because we're adults. We've kind of lost our imagination as we get on, right? But children get it. Children get it. You don't even need to. You don't need to. You just read the book. They in their own worlds, in their own minds, their tiny universes, they've already understood that. When they see the artwork and it's not, it's just inherent. It's within them to not look at people as colours. Like I truly believe that race itself is a social construct.
100%.
There's only one race, the human race.
Yeah.
You know, and for whatever reasons which we, you know, are or may not be aware of, it's there. The construct has been formed, and we're in this pyramid, right? So for me, it's like stepping out of the matrix a little bit with this book, and I enjoyed that. Yeah.
How do you handle sensitive topics or difficult themes in children's literature?
Yeah.
Because obviously you're talking about foster caring, so how did you?
Yeah.
Because that's a very sensitive thing to you don't want kids to cry.
No,
you don't want kids to sit back and be like,
no, I definitely don't. And I thought about that. I really thought about that. And
but you want to give them a kind of message in it that resonates. So how did you? Because that it's a very hard thing to maneuver around and bring it back home. So how did you do that? Did you get inspiration from You said Tracy Beaker was.
Tracy Beaker was in this inspiration because of the fact that it was about children in foster care. Not necessarily the way the text is written, that necessarily wasn't that, but the inspiration with the fact that they're foster children and they're living in a children's home. I was like, oh, okay, so this it can be relatable, it can be, but for the age group that I was going for and wanting to make it playful and fun, and I didn't want to just have it so it's just teenagers that understand, or adolescents. I want it to be that, mum and dad can just go through the pictures and don't even have to read the text with the child, and then they'll understand the meaning of the book is that family comes in all shapes and sizes. And how I was able to kind of take such a sensitive topic and make it so easy and fun to understand, was that I just stuck to the corners of it. It's just fun. Like, I want it to be fun. So if I want something to be fun, I'm not going to get serious about it, but I'm going to have lessons that they learn. Like the first book, the lesson that the whole family learns is that sometimes less is more, and it's okay to be satisfied with what you have. And whenever you get into a tricky situation, talk. Don't hold it to yourself. Tell the parents, the adults around you that you trust. So knowing that each book has a lesson to be learned, I kind of work around that. And then just keeping the element of fun and surprise. And like I said, having characters like Carla's Chameleon takes your imagination in places you may never have thought you could be.
Can you share any tips for parents on how to make their children enjoy reading more?
Don't always feel you have to pick up a book. Like, genuinely, like, of course look, reading literature itself is amazing. It's important. It's a skill, right, that you need to have to be able to read and write, right? But don't just make it that. You're walking down the street, you might be, because we do forest walks. Have a forest in my house. Me and my children, we do forest walks. And
see, no. You ain't mad at forest walks. We're black people. We don't go to the forest.
That's why I said don't box me in. Don't box me in.
You see them scary movies, yeah? When the dons walking through, and then they're like, "Mom, there's a cabin. Can we go in there? All right, let's go, kids. Hi." And the guy, some old white guy sitting there, and you're like, "Hi."
To yam you up now.
And then before you know it, some evil spirits following you home. Get to your house.
I'm done.
Stop walking in the forests.
Stop it. Go at a decent time when it's daylight and stay on the trail. Don't go off the trail. But do you know what you're saying? That there was one time we was walking back out the forest and you could see that dust, like it was just the sun was just starting to set. I kid you not, I have not walked out of a forest so bloody fast in my life. And you'd be like, but like I had to stay calm. I was with the kids. You make it fun. But my point in saying that is, even just a simple thing like that we do, I'll make that into a story. And I would over-exaggerate it. Of course, half of the things I didn't say really happened. But I'd be like, oh, Taylor, remember when you walked through with your wellies and your welly got stuck and it was like there was something dragging you down and pulling you in some, and then mummy yanked you out and then, that was amazing, and the puddle and it splashed in it. So you can create a story from simple things that you do every day with your children. Bath time, make that a story while you're bathing them. Don't think, oh wait a minute, we've got to get your pajamas on, we've got to get you in bed, we've got to get a book and open that book, because the minute you open the book you're only just reading the text off a page.
I like that still. That one is a powerful one. Are there any children's authors or books that have influenced your writing style, inspired you?
Roald Dahl, deeply.
What's your best Roald Dahl book?
OMG, you really gonna ask me that? I would have just like, he's got
Can I give mine? Can I give mine?
Go on.
What's that? The BFG.
Dope.
Anyone knows about the big friendly giant?
Dope.
Nah, but there's another one. The Beanstalk. What is it? Jack and the Beanstalk.
Bro.
Jack and the Beanstalk.
He's got them like.
But BFG, Jack and the Beanstalk. I'm not gonna lie. I used to love Jack and the Beanstalk. This is hard. I'm not gonna lie. This is actually hard.
It's a tricky one, right?
What's yours?
The Witches. More so because I enjoy the actual visual as well. I enjoy the film. Both of them, right? Oh my God, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Is that Roald Dahl?
Yeah.
No way.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I've all forgot that was him. Yeah. That's just so iconic. You just remember Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah. That's
Did you watch the one with Johnny Depp in it?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed both. Do you know what? I don't know, because I'm the type of person, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
You like in the old school one?
I love both. But
Oompa Loompas, the Oompa Loompas.
Johnny,
the Oompa Loompa.
Don't play with it. I need to remix that real quick. I swear that is your childhood, right? So Johnny Depp, absolute legend. Love
No,
Johnny
but he
Depp.
Played that role sick.
Anything Johnny Depp puts his name on and he acts it, he acts it.
You make him want to go home and watch it now.
He acts everything to the T, and he's actually one of my inspirations behind even wanting to be an actor as well. But yeah, man, Roald Dahl, amazing. Harry Potter books, J.K. Rowling. Different world.
But I feel like, this is just me being honest, the movies don't do justice to the book.
Nah, read the books.
The books will take your mind into a whole different dimension. But when you watch the movie, it kind of does it because of the acting.
Nah, but there's parts missing in it. There's
parts missing. But I think that's because our imaginations are greater than our visualizations.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's limited. It's limited in what they can actually do on film, right?
Yeah.
So I would definitely say read Harry Potter books before you watch the movies, 100%. So yeah, huge inspiration behind me also wanting to visualize, make Martha Panther a cartoon character, cartoon series. She has her own theme song, so it's just little things that I'm building up step by step. You know.
Oh, you got a theme song done?
Yeah, she's got her own theme song. There's a guy. Oh, goodness me, my brain. I can't remember his name. Bless him, but he's in Canada. So shout out to you, babes. We worked together on that, and he understood the assignment from the rip. Yeah.
Sick.
Vibe.
What would you say is like your toughest challenge as a children's author? Is it to make more books, or is it to just keep your imagination flowing?
My biggest challenge is
trying to make people see the vision. Because you know, sometimes you have your vision to be so big that you're trying to explain to people. It's like, after hearing it so many times, people are like, oh, yeah. Oh, you can do it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Or did you have people around you that was super supportive?
People got it, because I think because I'm so expressionate when I am passionate about something that... And I've always been told you've got a bit of the gift of the gab, right? So I can make people believe. Like,
she sounds like she's finessing guys now.
No. Child friendly, okay, but we gotta keep it there. No, I do not do that. do not finesse. But yeah, no. The hardest part of the journey, honestly, isn't not being able to write more books or anything like that. Is I don't want to be boxed in. So because you can think, okay, what's the ages of a child, right? You can go from the reading age, you can go from baby age, you can go up until 15, 16, you know, you can cut it off there if you wanted to, you can go up to 18. Like the range of being a child is so big that my trickiest part is like, where am I pinpointing it? So even till now, like with the other books yet to be released, I'm still going back and editing and being like, I want to hit this demographic, like this age group. Like, I can't leave it too wide, but then I can't make it too narrow either.
Yeah, I get you.
So yeah, that's been my biggest challenge.
And where can people find this book if they wanted to purchase this book or wanted to support you? Because maybe a lot of people now are going to see this and say, you know what, I want to get a children's book. So how could people find it?
Please do support it. So Martha Panther's World is her own website. Martha has her own website where you can actually get more information about the future plans for the children's project. You can also get a bit more insight on me, the author. It's a lovely interactive website. Martha Panther, if I can just show you quickly, at the end of the book, right, so we've got, you guys can see there, we've got a word search, right? So you can actually download this for free on the website. And you and your child can go through it. I also offer on the website each character. At the moment there's 4 characters available to print out and do arts and craft with. Yeah, you can do arts and craft sessions with the characters. I'm trying to find the middle page, guys. Do bear with me. Which you've got the majority of all the characters there. So yeah, you can print them out and do fun things with them. And I always also like it because follow us on Instagram. You can actually send me the artwork of you and your young children, of the young children's artwork, and I always post it up and I try and, you know, represent what the children have, you know, because creativity, just keeping that creativity going, right? So yeah, so it's interactive. The website's interactive. Martha Panther's World, .co.uk.
Okay.
And the book is definitely available and we're self-published on Amazon Books, guys, UK and USA. So head over there if you just want to get a quick copy, if you want to buy it in bulk, you know, as a gift. Christmas gift, birthday gift, you know, whatever, just buy it, enjoy it. So you can definitely go there and purchase it. You can purchase it off my website and get a free printout at the same time. And yeah, as far as me as an author, I do go out into schools. I do family fun days. I do school fairs where I do book signings. And yeah, so you can actually book me in. So you can DM me or you can email marthasworld at gmail.com and get through to me there, guys, and book me to come and do a book read at your school. At some point, it's going to be a mobile book club that I'm looking to create. But we're also on Facebook, so check me out on Facebook. And yeah, just enjoy it.
Come on, man. Nads, it's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you for showing me this side of you. I actually learned a lot. You've taught me a lot. And I hope that you get the full series done so I can give it to all my kids so they have to read it to me. Read this book right now. What did it say? Martha, Panther. Yeah, Panther.
Panther. Yeah. Better yet, they don't even have to read it. They can explore their own imaginations with the pictures.
Yeah, you know, kids are very creative. They do that a lot. Kids do that a lot.
Do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
Come on, man. But people, like, comment and subscribe. Bow, we're out. Rare Talks.